Here are the notes for 6.2, solving systems by substitution. If you look up in this box here, it has the steps for us. So step 1, solve one equation for a variable. When possible, solve for the variable that has a coefficient of 1 or -1. So all that's saying is make it easy on yourself. If the variable is already by itself, use it. If not, get the one alone that is easiest. Step 2, substitute that into for the variable into the first expression. Okay, then solve. So if we look at number 1 here, notice that x is already alone. X is equal to 4y plus 8. So then if I look up at the problem above it, where there's an x, I'm going to replace it with 4y plus 8. So now I have, looking at that first equation, I have 3. Instead of an x, I'm going to replace it. I'm going to substitute 4y plus 8 minus 2y equals -6. So everything else stayed the same. Then take the 3, distribute it inside to both things. So 3 times 4y is 12y, plus 3 times 8 is 24. I still have minus 2y, and I still have -6. On the right-hand side, I need to combine 12y minus 2y, so that's 10y. And I need to move 24 over to the other side. Right, so I'm going to subtract it on both sides. And that's going to be -30. Oops. Divide both sides by 10. So now I've got y equals -3. Okay, I need an x and a y value, right? So when we did graphing, it was a point. So I know what y is now. Plug that in to find what x is. So 4 times -3 plus 8. 4 times -3 plus 8 gives you -12 plus 8, which is -4. Okay? Be sure, you can just check on your calculator, be sure to plug this in to both equations to make sure it stays true. All right, we'll do another one together. In number 2, there is no variable alone, but you see this? In one step, you could get x alone. All you need to do is add 2y to the other side, right? So then you have x equals -4 plus 2y. So now that x is alone, what is x equal to? -4 plus 2y. Where am I going to plug that in? What the name of the game is substitution, so you're going to substitute it in for x. So I'm going to rewrite that first equation, 11, and then instead of an x, -4 plus 2y, and you have -7y equals -14 still, right? Distribute the 11 inside. So that's -44 plus 22y, and you still have -7 equals -14. All right, so combine our y's. 22y minus 7y is 15y. Okay, and then I'm going to move the 44 over to the other side by adding it to get rid of it. So -14 plus 44 is 30. Y still isn't alone yet. I need to divide now by 15. So y equals 2. Oops. Okay, remember, we need an x and a y value. Just like with graphing, it was an ordered pair, so we still need to find our x by plugging in that new y value. X equals -4 plus 2 times 2. So x is equal to 0. Because I don't have the space, I'm not going to write out the check, but you would want to plug in your points to make sure they satisfy both equations, right? So if we plug in 0 for x, 11 times 0 minus 7 times, what was it, 2? Does that equal negative 14? Yes, because that's 0 minus 7 times 2, which is negative 14. And then you would plug it into the other equation as well. So 0 minus 2 times 2, which is 0 minus 4, which is negative 4. So that one also works. Okay, so be sure to check. Pause the video, try number 3 and 4. So if you need some guidance here, I would look at my first equation here probably and solve for x. Okay, because it's the smallest one, so I know it's not going to end up with any fractions. Whereas in in the second one, see how like the 7 and the 3, they're not going to divide nicely. All right, so coming down here, we'll get x alone. In order to get x alone, I have to do, actually I'll come off to the side. I have to do 2x. I have to add 4y to the other side. So that'll be 4y minus 2. And then divide everything by 2. So x equals 2y minus 1. Okay. That is what x is. So I'm going to replace the second equation where x was with 2y minus 1. So 7, instead of an x, I write 2y minus 1. And then I still have 3y, minus 3y equals, and then 15. Okay, so distribute the 7. That's 14y minus 7 minus 3y equals 15. Combine your y's. 14y minus 3y is 11y. Add 7 to the other side to get rid of it. So 15 plus 7 is 22. Divide both sides by 11. So y equals 2. So I know I'm a broken record, but we are not done yet because I only have y. I need to also find what x is, right? I know x is 2 times y, which now I know y is 2, minus 1. So that's 4 minus 1, 3. Again, make sure to check your solutions. Go ahead and try number 4. I'm going to replace y in the first equation with x plus 4. 5x plus 3x plus 4 equals negative 12. Distribute the 3. Okay, combine your x's. And move your 12. So that's subtract 12 to the other side. Last, divide by 8. So x equals negative 3. Now you need to plug that in to this equation here to get your y. So y equals, instead of an x, I'm going to put in negative 3 plus 4. Well, negative 3 plus 4 is just 1. So y is 1, x is negative 3. Be sure to check by plugging in your x and your y into both equations and make sure they are both true. All right, in this last example, again, what variable would be the easiest to solve for? Because right now, no variable is alone, right? So the one easiest to get alone would probably be this negative 2y, because I know I could divide, once I move 4x to the other side, I can divide it easily by 2, whereas in the other one, 5 is not going to divide nicely by 3. So, in order to get y alone, add 4x to the other side. Divide by negative 2. So you have y equals negative 2x. Oops. So now you have plus 10x equals 0. So 13x equals 0. So x equals 0. Again, I have x, I still need y. So y equals negative 2, plug in 0, y equals 0. And then make sure to check your answer. Okay? Moving on to the word problems here. In a candy shop, chocolate sells for $4 a pound. It's going to be mixed with nuts, which are sold for $2.50 a pound. And then when mixed together, they form this chocolate nut candy, which sells for $3.50 a pound. They want to know how much of each are used to make 30 pounds of mixture. So first thing we need to do is identify our variables. So again, we can just use x and y. Let's let x be the chocolate. You could use C for chocolate if you want instead. And then let y stand for the nuts. This is a linear system, so that should be a key word to you, that we need 2 equations. One for the pounds and one for the cost. So my 2 equations. Total, I have x plus y is going to be 5 pounds, right? So and then my one for the money, if x is my chocolate, that's $4 a pound, so that's going to be 4x. And y was my are the nuts, which are $2.50 a pound. So $2.50y. And then I'm going to set that equal to $3.50, but it's per pound. And I want 30 pounds, right? So it's going to actually be $3.50 times 30. Okay. Let's switch colors here. I need to use substitution. That's the name of the game here, right? So let's get one of my variables alone. I got y alone. It doesn't really matter. But if you get y alone, then it's what? 5 minus x, right? So then I'm going to take that. As I'm doing this problem, where did I get that 5 from? I don't see that anywhere. It was a 30 in the original problem. I'm sorry. That's supposed to be x plus y equals 30. Not really sure where I was looking. I think I got distracted. So over here then, it should be 30. When I solve for get y alone, it's going to be 30 minus x. Okay? That's what y is equal to. So in my equation down here, that's what I'm going to plug in for y. All right, you ready to actually solve? So the word problem part is done. Now it's just like the other problems, where I have to, sorry, my pen is acting weird. plug in 30 minus x where the y used to be, and then continue with the equation 3.5 times 30, right? So I just rewrote this equation here and replaced the two things I highlighted. So where the y was, I put in the 30 minus x. All right, so then to continue solving this the same way, 4x and then 2.5 times 30 is 75. 2.5 times x, negative 2.5x, and then equals 3.5 times 30 is 105. Combine your x's. That is 1.5x. Subtract 75 on both sides. So that is 30. Divide by 1.5. It's not writing very nicely. And then you have x equals 20 pounds. And x represented the what? The chocolate. So you're going to have 20 pounds of chocolate. Once I have x, I still need to figure out what y is, right? So y is going to be 30 minus 20. So y is equal to 10 pounds. Okay? We'll do another one. So pause the video and let's move on. This word problem is similar. Step 1 still says identify your variables. So for the heck of it, we'll just use x and y. A high protein supplement that costs $6.75 per pound is mixed with a vitamin supplement that costs $3.25 per pound. So x is going to have to be my protein, or the amount of protein really, right? So I'll say protein amount, and then the y will be the vitamin amount. This pen is not working very well. I apologize. And then my two equations are going to be one for the cost and one for the total. Oh, I must have copied the 5 from the first problem on this one. Sorry. So I don't know how much protein, I don't know how much vitamin supplement I need, but I know altogether I have 5 pounds. Right? The protein costs $6.75 a pound. So $6.75 times x. And the vitamin is $3.25 a pound, so $3.25y. Now total it's $4.65, right? But I'm going to multiply that by 5 because I'm making 5 pounds. So 4.65 and then times the 5. Okay? We want to get whatever variable you want by itself. So I solved for x this time. So if I want to get x alone, I'm just going to subtract y. So it's 5 minus y. So then, where's my highlighter? X is 5 minus y. So in the equation below it, where there used to be an x, I'm going to replace it with 5 minus y. So 6.75 times 5 minus y plus 3.25. Ugh. Why is it not y? Equals 4.65 times 5, which is 23.25. Okay. Distribute 675. You get 33.75 minus 6.75y. And then I still have the plus 325y. And I still have the equals 23.25. Okay, so that didn't change. Combine your y's, and that becomes negative 3.5y. And then move the 33.75 to the other side. So I have to subtract it. So on that side, it ends up with negative 10.5. You're not done yet. You have to divide both sides by negative 3.5. So then I get y equals 3 pounds. Okay. Again, once you have your y, you still need to plug that into your x, right? So we said x equals 5 minus y. Y in this case was 3. So x equals 2 pounds. All right. We can quickly do the last word problem as well. Okay, so in this problem, same directions. Identify your variables. So we can just use x and y per usual. Okay. A farmer has some cream, which is 21% butterfat, and one that is 15% butterfat. So this one, you can say, butterfat at 21%, and the other one, butterfat 15%. Okay? Then we're supposed to write a linear system. So again, I know I need two equations, right? One for there's not cost in this one, but the percentages, and the other for the total number of gallons I want, right? So that's the easier one. The total number of gallons, however much of that first cream I use, plus however much of that second cream I use, I don't know that yet, but I know total it's going to be 60 gallons, right? So this first creamer is 21%. So convert 21 to a decimal, 21% to a decimal, it's 0.21. Convert 15% to a decimal, and it's 0.15. And total, together, they want it to turn into a 19%. So on the other side, I'm going to have 0.19, but because it's 60 gallons, it's times 60. So all of these, we ended up multiplying that right-hand side by the total, right? So just make sure you remember to do that. All right, so now we want to solve for one of our variables. It doesn't really matter. I solved for x this time. So 60 minus y. So x is 60 minus y, which means in this equation, I'm replacing x with 60 minus y. Okay, so step 3 is going to be 0.21, 60 minus y, plus 0.15y equals, 0.19 times 60 is what, 11.4? And then distribute the 0.21 over here, so that you end up with 12.6 minus 0.21y, and you still have the 0.15y equals 11.4. Combine your y's, and that's going to become negative 0.06y. If at any point you feel like I'm going too fast, please just pause the video and try it on your own, and then come back and check. I'm going to subtract 12.6 on both sides. So then I end up with negative 1.2, and then divide by negative 0.06. So y equals 20 gallons, finally. Okay? Again, at any point in a video, you can pause it and work at your own pace. All right, once I have X, or once I have Y, I still need to find X. So 60 minus 20. So X equals 40 gallons. So we need 20 gallons of the 21% and 40 gallons of the 15%, and then we will have 60 gallons total of 19%. This completes the notes. There is an exit ticket to do now, and then you can work on homework.